And I mounted it upside down. What's up everyone, welcome back to Winging a Garage. So today we're going to be doing a little more work on the F100. We're going to be installing the oil filter relocation kit and then also the transcooler kit for this 10R80. So the reason we're having to do the oil filter relocation kit is because it's got the crossmember from the Crown Victoria, and we use the outcast motor plates to kind of help slide it back some so it's tighter to the firewall, and it gives us more room in the front of the engine. So because of that, it's not clearing. We also have the electric rack, and the input shaft for the steering column is a lot bigger, so that's also an obstacle for the oil filter. So we tried ways around it without having to do it, but this is going to be the best solution. That way we can get that motor set all the way back. So today we're going to get that put on here, and then we just need a transcooler, so we're going to get that installed also. So here we go. All right, so as you guys can see, there's not a whole lot of clearance. This isn't a very big oil filter. It's just not going to fit because of how big this is and how far we have to slid the motor back. If we had the motor probably in the stock holes, this would fit fine, but I really want the motor as far back as possible. So this just isn't going to work. So in its place, we'll be putting in this piece. And it had a cooler on it, oil cooler, but we had already taken it off, hoping that just taking that off and putting a little adapter on would give us clearance for the filter, but it did not. So put this on. For now, we'll just snug it up to mock everything up, make sure everything's going to work. So that's going to point forward like that. And as you can see, we have plenty of clearance between this and the rack and pinion now, so that's perfect. So we have this. I got to figure out which filter it uses. See if the stock filter is going to screw on. Oh, it does. Oh, look at that. It works. I have to verify and make sure that's 100% correct, but so yeah. So we have this. We're just probably going to space it out. Do something like this on here. They also gave us this bracket. No clue what it's for. Wish I'd done this prior, got as well as the frame before powder coat, but it's all right. So what we'll probably end up doing is just nut and bolting it. Maybe do a little tab from the top of the frame. Just come down like that, the way it's clears. And the core support sits right here. And the radiator is going to sit about here, so we might just bring it in a little tighter just to make sure we're good. Plenty of clearance, but I think it's going to work perfect. So yeah, it fits right on here. So we're going to try to mount it somewhere in here. Like I said, the core support's going to sit here. The radiator is going to be about here with the fan. So I think we're going to have plenty of clearance in here. So we'll build some kind of bracket to mount it right here. And then we just got to run the hoses from there to there. And then that part's done. We just got to snug everything up. And so yeah. So I'll get a bracket made. And then we'll move on to the transcooler. All right, so this is what we've come up with. I think we're just gonna mount the filter like here. That way when you crack this thing open, it just drains straight down. It doesn't drain all over the filter, all over your hands. I think this would be the best method for changing the filter. And then as far as mounting it, there's already an existing hole in the frame that we don't use. So we'll be using it for this. We'll drill the second hole, nut and bolt that, tighten it down. And then for the hose, it's gonna be a simple, just curve it right in to that one, and then same thing for that one. So I feel like it'd be should be a pretty clean install. Nothing's in the way, and I actually looked at the core support. So the mounts for the core support sit here, obviously, and then the core support actually is here, and the radiator sits right in between the two mounts. So the radiator actually is going to sit here. We should have plenty of clearance that way because the condenser is going to sit on this side, and the heat exchanger for the supercharger is going to sit on this side. So we should have plenty of room for it. So I feel like this is going to work perfect. So instead of boring you all with making A inlines, I'm going to get all lines made up, get the second hole drilled, bolted in solid, and I'll show you the final product. Yep. Okay. All right, so we got the other line made up, and this is going to be the last line. So we get this on here. Once we get everything test fitted, make sure it's going to clear and fit properly, we will snug everything up. There it is. I mean, I think it turned out pretty good. Plenty of room to get up in here to take this off, let it drain down, doesn't hit anything. Nice and clean. So yeah, we'll get all this tightened up and move on to the trans cooler. All right, so now we're going to move on to doing the trans cooler. As you can see, I don't know, might be able to see it. There's fluid on the ground because I haven't had anything in here. So we're going to pull that out. Went ahead and put the O-rings on and have lubed up the O-rings. So now we're just going to pop this in place. No, we're not. We got to pull those seals out first. So let's go get something to remove those seals. All right, got a little flathead screwdriver. Should pop the seals out just like that. Just like that. Looks like there's an inner seal. Pull those seals out. Boom. Now we're going to pop it in. And it's got a little temp sensor that goes in line with it. That way you can control the fan based off of temperature instead of just on a switch. So we're going to tighten up this for now. Technically this doesn't need to come out, but we will have to Teflon tape that sensor before we do a permanent install. Should have grabbed an electric ratchet for this. All right, so that is in there and tight. Now let's figure out where we're going to put this cooler. All right, got those fittings on there. All right, so we ordered the brackets. They finally showed up. So these are the two brackets I was stocking out. So what we're going to do is we're going to end up mounting the brackets with the trans cooler, you know, somewhere in this location, you know, right in front of the tire, but where it's hidden underneath the bed, so you won't really see it. So that's what we're going to do today: get this mounted, get the two lines made from the transmission to the cooler, and then this part will be all done. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get these brackets bolted up to the trans cooler. That way we can line it up a little better and make sure everything's going to fit and work right. All right, I got the brackets all bolted up. Put that over here. So now, just gonna do something like that. And I mounted it upside down. All right, a couple failed attempts, we finally got it. It's gonna be really tight to that, but I'm sure we can tweak it and make it work. So once again, we're gonna put it somewhere right here. It didn't make this bracket very good. Do something like that. So we're gonna mark the holes. Go ahead and drill out for those and get this thing mounted up. All right, so this is where the cross front crossmember on the bed is at, and it sits up a little higher, so it actually gives us a little more room. But we're gonna start it like right underneath it, and then the bed should start like kind of like right over this line right here. So then we'll have plenty of room, because there's like a little bracket that comes down that supports the sides of the bed, which this should clear fine. All right, so we got those two marked. We're gonna go ahead and drill them. Then we'll start those bolts, and then we'll dot the other side and do the same thing there. And once we get everything done, I'm gonna get a few more parts together. I'll end up taking these brackets back off to take them to have them powder coated. For now, I was just kind of mocking everything up on here, make sure it's all gonna fit and work. And then we will get it all done. All right, so transcooler's mounted. It should have no problem clearing. Now we just need to route the lines. For now, we're just gonna tuck this wire up because we got a long way before we're wiring anything. Pretty sturdy, pretty happy with that. The other thing, the bed does sit up a little bit, so I'm gonna be able to run these transmission lines kind of like over through here. That way they're not gonna hit, but then go underneath and connect right over. So we don't have to worry about trying to go through the frame or under the frame and look, real bad. So we'll do that for now. We'll just get them routed up and over. We'll go over the frame here, then under this cross member, and then kind of tuck it along the frame rail all the way up. All right, so we're gonna do the first line. So we're gonna kind of route this up and over. This fitting is the only one I'm concerned about. I might have to route it back this way and let it loop. I think that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna route it this way to let it loop that way so it's not a tight bend or anything. So yeah, let's go ahead and do this one first. All right, we're gonna make this line and we'll come back, measure for that length, and then cut it and make the other side to finish one line. All right, so we got the first line made. We're gonna go and hook it back up. Make sure it's gonna work. All right, take this long line, stick it under here. Route it like that, so there's no kinks. So the frame for the bed sits there, so we'll have plenty of clearance. And then the same thing with this one, we'll be able to route it. Probably do the same, angle it this way so it kind of curves with that one. So now we're going to route it up. So let me get my extra hands over here to help me hold this. Come hold my big black hose. All right, so I'm gonna pull this back out and I'm gonna cut the other side and at least make one line. I'm gonna have to order more cooler line to be able to finish this. All right, so we got this line made. I'm gonna go ahead and feed it up through this way first just to make it a little easier.
Will fit with that L shape.
Let's see. It's got to go through there perfectly. Well, shucks. Guess we ain't going through there.
You just zip tie it.
Yeah, that's what we have to do. All right, so we're just gonna go under here and do one of these. Push down right here. Yeah. All right. So we got that one. Gonna curve this around. And this is gonna go.
You can wait till you zip tie it until you get the other line.
Yeah. Once I get the other one made, then I'll zip tie everything up. I gotta put more brackets in anyway for all the brake lines. So I'm gonna try to get brackets that will hold stuff like this to the frame. All right, so that's pretty much it for now. That's how it's gonna go. So you can see it's connected to the trans cooler there. It's gonna come up here to the transmission. I'm gonna order some more hose so we can finish off this line to complete it. But yeah, so we'll get all that done. We'll get this other hose ordered, get it completed, and then this section's done between doing the trans cooler and doing the oil filter relocation. That's gonna be everything for this video.